Dungeons & Dragons has seen many iterations over the years, and although the skeleton that makes up the game is largely the same, many things have changed. These changes are worth looking at for ideas to run at your own games, or they may just be interesting for you as someone seeking trivial knowledge. Welcome to Rollback. You find yourself in the heart of the lair of a lich, who has been terrorizing a nearby village for some time. Notably, there are several enchanted bricks that are placed intermittently throughout the floor that seem to create a silencing effect throughout the entire floor of the dungeon. This has proven to be advantageous, as it allows you to get the drop on many of the lich's minions. You, the party's wizard, have been hanging close to the back of the group. You have been told to stay in the back for your safety, as your spells, along with the clerics, will be the deciding factor when you come across the master of this domain. The air is eerily quiet as you all walk through the halls, until you hear the light sound of breath drawing in behind you. You turn to see a robed, skeletal figure. Before you have the chance to call out, the figure whispers a single word to you. He speaks in a demonic tongue from the deepest known corners of the abyss. Although you do not know a single word of abyssal or infernal, you can understand this one word as it reverberates a sensation throughout your entire body. Your party can't even hear you hit the floor, as the word's meaning echoes in your mind. Die. Welcome to Rollback, the show where we discuss the changes to spells, classes, creatures, and game mechanics over the several versions of Dungeons & Dragons besides for 4th edition. Today our topic is the Death Effect subgroup of spells. The scenario presented before is a terrible maneuver, and one that I would never suggest a Dungeon Master to take, but it is one that is certainly possible for a high-level wizard who makes poor choices in allocating their constitution score. The spell in question used by our Lich Necromancer is Power Word Kill, also known as Zanod's Killer in the Forgotten Realms setting, a 9th level enchantment spell, capable of immediately killing a target if their current hit points are below a threshold. The current version of the spell functions identically to its 3rd edition counterpart. If the creature in question has 100 or fewer hit points, the creature is immediately compelled to die with no saving throws. Older versions of the game place the threshold much lower, at 60 hit points, but have the same killing mechanic. Additionally, the editions before 3rd allow you to select multiple smaller targets. However, when choosing to multi-target, the threshold is creatures within 10 hit points or less, but you can target up to 120 hit points worth of creatures. There is also another mechanic that strengthens the current version of the spell, though it has very little to do with the spell itself. For this, we'll have to dig into the mechanics of undead creatures and constructs. Power Word Kill belonged to the category of spells for today's topic, Death Effects. It also belonged to another category called Mind Affecting. These categories were given because certain creatures were granted immunity to some specific categories of spell, while some classes and races granted special bonuses to spells belonging to the categories. Death Effects had 2 specific creature types that were immune to them, the undead and constructs. While a fireball may burn a victim to death, or a vorpal sword may keenly decapitate an enemy, Death Effects draw on the necromantic energies of death to kill a living creature. This immunity applied to undead as necrotic energy was what was used to animate them in the first place, supported by Inflict Wounds, which once upon a time healed undead creatures the same way that Cure Wounds spells do for the living. Likewise, Cure Wound spells would harm undead creatures in the same fashion that Inflict spells would harm the living. Even still, Death Effects confused many players, either who didn't understand the difference as explained to them, or found the explanation of necrotic energy lacking. Constructs, on the other hand, were immune due to not being alive at all. However, Warforged are exempt from this immunity due to the unique magics that grant them real life. This category no longer exists in 5th edition, and the spell power word kill does not specify that a target creature has to be living. So a spell that undead and golems were once immune to is now able to slay them with relative ease. It would be difficult to cover all the other death effect spells from previous editions, with the amount of scraping through the Dragon magazine one would need to do. So here are a quick list of 2 more death effect spells that can run with the comparison from 3rd edition to 5th edition. Both of the following spells are of the necromancy school, and any mention of damage is necrotic in nature. Circle of Death is a 6th level spell that currently deals 8d6 damage to everyone within a 60-foot radius of a point you determine within 150 feet of you, with a constitution save to halve the damage. Increasing the spell's level adds 2d6 more damage per spell level. In 3rd edition, Circle of Death instead kills 1d4 hit dice worth of creatures per level of wizard that you have. If said creatures fail their saving throw, the spell starts with the lowest level creatures and works its way up, and creatures with 9 or more hit dice are unaffected by the spell completely. Given that a 6th level spell slot isn't earned until 11th level, the 3rd edition version of the spell would never work on boss enemies, who are mostly higher level than a given party, and instead be used by a party to remove minions from a fight, or used by evil characters to murder innocents. Finger of Death is a 7th level spell that deals 7d8 plus 30 damage, or half as much on a successful constitution save, to a target within 60 feet. Additionally, if a creature dies from this spell, they reanimate as a zombie at the start of your next turn, which you permanently have control of. In 3rd edition, this spell kills a creature within close range, if they fail on a saving throw. If they succeed on their save, the creature instead takes 3d6 points of damage, along with 1 more damage for every level of your casting class that you have, to a maximum of 25. Power word kill is currently, to my knowledge, the only spell or ability in 5th edition that will instantly kill someone, and frankly, I prefer it that way. Although death effects can feel quite empowering to a player that uses them, they can just as easily be turned against them. I have no takeaway from this regarding the potential changes to death effects, aside from potentially laying out with players at the start of the game an immunity to power word kill to non-living creatures. Any other thoughts I have on changes will come from an episode analyzing the undead and necromancy as a whole, but that will be a tale from another day. Thank you for watching. The music Stream Countdown 10 Seconds and Wanderer are by Alexander Nakarada, licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 license. Links to his website are listed in the description below. If you have any suggestions for content to cover, or any ideas, feel free to leave a comment below. The next episode will be about gaining levels and multiclassing. Until then, have a good day.